Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and I'm going to tell you this game's worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is God of War 2018. God of War Ragnarok comes out today, and since I don't get games early, I'm playing the original one first instead. Does this first of the reboot duology still hold up? God of War is available on both PC and PlayStation, and is also available through PS Plus as one of the Essentials collections, meaning you can get it for free. Should you wish to buy it, it's usually only around 10 to 20 bucks, and the game will take you around 20 to 50 hours depending on how much of a completionist you are. So what exactly is God of War 2018? Well, it's a refresh/return to the original God of War series of games, which are third-person action games starring their Spartan-turned-god, Kratos. Now, Kratos lives in the frigid north of Scandinavia, abandoning his life as a Greek god of war and trying to stay in hiding. This changes, however, with the key event that starts the game off. Kratos' new wife has died, and her last wish was for Kratos and his son Atreus to take her ashes to the highest mountain in the realms. It's a surprisingly tender story, one that reminds me of Kratos' origins in the first God of War game rather than what he became in the rest of the series. These two characters drive the story as you traverse in various realms of Viking mythology, meeting gods and beasts alike in your quest. God of War previously was a fully linear experience, and this refresh mixes that up a bit. While zones and areas you'll explore often are of a linear nature, they're connected by semi-open world zones. From this area, you can either continue to larger linear quest zones, or simply explore for new resources and XP, new areas popping up as the game progresses. And you'll want all that stuff, as combat has been adjusted. Kratos starts with the Leviathan Axe, a weapon he can toss and then recall, much like Thor's Mjolnir, as well as engage in both light and heavy attacks, as well as your usual blocks, parries, and eventually up to 2 special moves. The combat is oddly similar to the original game, just with a new perspective, and this is further accented by a second weapon you'll get later, which I will not spoil. Enemies now have both health and a stun bar. Should you fill the stun bar first, Kratos can do one of his trademark brutal executions, with certain enemies being more susceptible to one type of damage or the other. All of this gear is upgraded, as well as Kratos' and his son's armor, weapons, and skills through a fairly standard gear and enhancement system with the crap you find. Of course, the graphical fidelity should be mentioned, as the game looks incredible even on a base PS4, though it'll play at 30 FPS, but certainly shines most on a PC or PS5. The game also still retains its bombastic set pieces, grandiose visuals, and their reverent but somewhat transgressive interpretation of the Norse pantheon, all of which plays together to keep things interesting. So all in all, God of War is a third-person action game with its emphasis on story, set pieces, and bombastic action. So what do I like about God of War 2018? Well, the combat is really good, with it still having that bit of a floaty, overpowering feel you got from the original God of War games, just with a different camera angle and some new toys to play with. Let's just say that tossing and recalling the axe in particular feels like the most badass thing ever. Additionally, this game's production values are through the roof, from the exceptional graphics, especially on PC, to the phenomenal voice acting, ridiculous over-the-top set pieces, and everything else. This game's polish oozes from every pore. Lastly, I really loved what they did with these characters, particularly how Kratos is just the worst father ever, but more so how they managed to make this guy who is less of an actual character and just kind of the embodiment of murder in the first batch of games, and made him into a deep, relatable guy. There is some really fantastic character development and moments here. When it comes to the bad, the middle portions of this game certainly lag a bit, with the game starting and ending strong, but its central dozen-ish hours bogged down a bit by the semi-open world portions that aren't really as exciting gameplay-wise. And on that same note, the plot's pacing feels all over the place. And while the big moments really shine and are quite fantastic, the slower parts do drag, with the old, we're almost there, oh wait, just kidding, we have to go do something else, happening so often I'd almost call it a motif. It's kind of comedic. And lastly, the weapon upgrade system just kind of feels less fulfilling and more like busy work. There's nothing I really got excited about, and having to play around in the menus to min-max which axe pommel would enhance some particular ability felt out of place with the rest of the game's flow. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale, must play, maybe consider, and don't bother. Big shocker, God of War 2018 is still a must play and is fantastic. And honestly, I was even more blown away by it replaying it 4 years later on the PC than when I first played through it on a PS4 Slim. I cannot wait to see how the story ends with Ragnarok. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you played God of War, are you going to play it now that Ragnarok's coming out? Are you excited for Ragnarok? Please let me know in the comments. Regardless, make sure you go out there and don't miss this one.